this stuff wiped off. Welcome. All right. Finish getting set up here. Welcome. Hello, Miss Andrea. And I received your email, my dear. I have not had an opportunity to respond, but I did see it pop up. So I will get to that as soon as I wrap this. Excited to connect with you further. All right. Just going to give a moment for others to drop in. I usually try to lighten this up a little bit. It's a little bit better. Yeah. Yep. At least that lightens it up some. Because I cannot lighten it anymore. Oh my goodness. How are you feeling today? How is the energy? You can see my my skin is responding to everything. Everything. Oh, I need to set the chat. That's what I need to do. And I always forget how to get to where I need to get to. Okay, there we go. There we go. Had to set the chat thing so only those that are subscribed can comment. All right. I'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll go ahead and begin. Welcome everyone. And then just calling in all of those that are agreeing to receive themselves through this exchange. It's beautiful seeing the energetic structure, if you will, or the energetic design of the frequencies. And we have a beautiful sequence of frequency. And I know you all have heard me speak into this before. Oh, it was just 444. Right as I said that. And that's very interesting because the sequence is 4343. So not surprised to see that at all. Welcome everyone. Just so everyone is aware, the chat is open and available for those who have subscribed. I know I say this every time, but it's something that I've just begun to do, and I'm just allowing everyone to understand that the reason why I'm doing that is that I welcome everyone that's coming in that's never received one of my videos before. However, we do receive, obviously, as it being public, a lot of chaotic chat. And so therefore, I have made it to where only those that have subscribed. Now, obviously, this isn't going to change necessarily. A lot of people will subscribe just so they can chat. But obviously, if you do that, not only do you have to be here for 20 minutes before you can do that, but I will block you anyways. So it's really meant to just weed out and allow those that are truly dedicated to receiving these types of transmissions and to be here for the highest reasons instead of those that are here to just create a sense of chaos and attention seeking. So welcome everyone. Grateful to have you. This is Aoasi. And if you, I'm not for sure how many see the description before they dial in. Today we are going to be activating within Sirius and Orion energies. And of course, if you've been tiling into these last few transmissions, the Sirian energies, of course, have been very present. And these cosmic energies are always present. It's not that they go anywhere. It's just usually we are so distracted that we normally don't dial into them. So what's here today is a continuation of what has been coming through for those applications that I provide, such as the My Soul Pod 101s, and of course for myself. And this is an exploration of frequency, experiencing the application of the microcosmic through these cosmic rays and within these cosmic rays. And cosmic rays are frequency. Everything is frequency. And what's here now, everything that I'm receiving is in connection with this, the power of the body, but the body, not just the body, the immune system is a big one. It's very, very interesting. When we are in the womb, the very first organ that's created is the heart. This is also the very first space, if you will, frequentially, that we must access in order to begin accessing our soul, because the seat of the soul is the heart. And in order for us to truly access ourselves in an awakened state, we must have access to the heart. And even though the heart organ is not necessarily what we're speaking about here, there is an important reference to be made that the heart was the first organ created. And the next is our gallbladder and liver. And these are directly correlated to the energies and how our energies work in sequence with one another, how our organs work in sequence with one another. How, if we follow the sequence of numbers, numerical representation, and allowing ourselves to understand that the stars' frequency communicates as numbers. The numbers are a language. And so if we harness the numbers in that way, understanding that the numbers are a language, then we really begin to understand the language of the cosmos. And it's yes, it's geometry, yes, it's geometric design, if you will, but it's also it's more than that, because we simply do not have a teaching or an application of teaching in this realm that can be applied to cosmos, that we just simply haven't discovered it yet. So our systematic teachings are very, very, well, they're controlled. Everything is controlled. Everything is controlled by the government. Everything that we consume is there based on what the government declares we should. However, we can allow the frequencies to be what they are, and this is a very beautiful geometric designs that are always shifting. Another thing that is different, if you will, is our polarities. You know, we've always known of north, south, east, and west, and I know there is an application where others declare that there are archangels that are representative of each of the directions. But our true compass doesn't follow north, south, east, or west. It doesn't follow any of the directions in the way that they have been applied. Our true compass, or our true north, is different than the north that we have been conditioned to perceive. So our magnetic compass is different. Our electromagnetic compass is different. Therefore, if we choose to rely on those applications, then we're obviously not following the path of the heart. So with this in heart, allowing also there to be an understanding that when we dial into the numbers 4343, we are dialing into a sequence, a design, a geometric pattern. And so I would invite each of you to just take a moment and to fill into that sequence. To fill into the sequence and allow yourself to feel what that sequence is. And Miss Andrea, since you have commented, would you please let me know how the video and voice is doing thus far, my dear? Please let me know if you're able to. I should have asked this in the beginning. Please let me know if you're able to hear me. And I know the video might be a bit choppy or it might get a bit blurry, but I just want to be sure that it at least is coming through. And I do feel that the signal is probably holding up pretty good, but I would like to be sure of that. Just do a check-in really quickly on that. There we go. So with the sequence 4343, what is 4343? Well, if we reduce it, it's 77. If we reduce it even more, it's 5. And I see 5 up there right now. The vibration of 5 is also a design. 4343 is a design. 77 is a design. So we have these intermingling, these interweaving filaments that are consistently moving. And if we allow ourselves to dial in, we can perceive the movement because we're always moving. And the frequencies, the cosmic frequencies, what we consider higher frequencies, are actually just frequencies that carry a tone or an attunement that we're not used to perceiving. It's usually going to be out of our hearing range. But not just this, the colors are usually out of our visual range. So, hello, Miss Yvonne. Hello, Miss Irene. Oh, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. I didn't know there was anyone else here. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. So if we allow ourselves to open up to this, we can feel the fullness of what is here. Now, our subatomic and, of course, our micro and our macro are happening simultaneous. Now, this, of course, has been a consistent viewpoint for me because I've really been able to witness consistently in every moment how my reality and those in it are shifting. And I've had this happen before, obviously, but my experience with it now is even more profound. One of the things that came into my awareness earlier, I was visiting with this before I got in the shower, was I understood that mastery is a necessary part of our path if we choose it. Perception, mastery of perception, mastery of viewing, or mastery of receiving ourselves and receiving others, and how we apply that vision of ourself to the world. Now, for me, I knew that it was necessary and in connection with the cosmos, and the way that it came through was, and I actually feel like there's a little bit more here, so I would like to dial into that. So if we're speaking in connection with, let's say, our immune system, our electromagnetic waves, our body, our mind, our soul, everything that we exist as in this realm, everything that we came here to experience in this realm. And because everything in this realm is electromagnetic, there's also different overlays of electromagnetic waves. So we in the 3D are very, very present in the electromagnetic waves that are applicable in their most natural state. And we also have electromagnetic waves that are controlled, that are implemented on purpose to keep us somehow, in some way, connected to that part of ourself that egoically guides us. Now, I would like everyone to understand, when I speak into ego, I'm not speaking into ego as a negative thing. There is nothing negative about the ego. However, the ego is very limited in its perception, and it also is here to provide us with some very, very beautiful experiences, archetypal experiences, self-perception, the perception of others. So we receive a lot of everything, if not everything, through ego. As we ascend, our ability, it is the same thing when we say heart mind coherence. It's the same thing. It's ego and heart coherence. So heart mind coherence is the same as ego and heart coherence. So if we allow ourselves to accept that we're just simply marrying the two, and we're no longer bound by the perceptions that are held in limitation. The electromagnetic waves that are implemented, that are controlled, really, we're so used to them being here that we have become susceptible always to them. It's what creates disease. It's what creates distortion. Not only has the collective accepted that as a part of life, but it's really become such a natural state of our existence to be in a state of deterioration, to be in a state of aging, to be in a state of receiving ourselves as losing over time instead of gaining over time or through time. So what do I mean by this? It means that there are overlays of electric waves that deteriorate the magnetism of our heart. Our heart is magnetic, and it keeps us in some ways in a state of fear of our full power. We are clinging somehow to self-doubt and feeling that if we just won't make those leaps of faith, because if we do, we don't know what's on the other side. And it's also affecting us on a physical level. Our immune system is just become so completely deteriorated that we have forgotten that even without having an access, a beautiful example, without having an access of all of our organs. There is a sister in my soul pod who has had some organs removed. In our last, and of course there's other ones that are experiencing issues with the organs that are directly correlated to this. And we were able to visit the etheric field and pull from the etheric field and experience the fullness of the highest electromagnetic currents, which provide us with, shall we say, a shield. That's just simply the magnetism of the heart. And it's also the fullness of our mind, body, soul being in coherence, or mind, or ego, body, soul being in coherence. Simultaneous, our masculine and feminine are in coherence. Simultaneously, we also have restorations that are undergoing because the etheric field is being accessed. And we are harnessing the ability to master time. Now, the mastery of self is the mastery of perception. So it gives us the ability to understand the nuances of the currents. This way, not only do we continue to remain susceptible to those electromagnetic currents that are not assisting or sustaining our field, but we're no longer a victim to them. We're no longer a victim. We're no longer a victim because we're sick. We're no longer a victim to our body being sick. We're no longer a victim because we don't have something accessible to us. And I'm not saying that those in my space were in a victimhood state, but I am declaring that there is also an opportunity for those that experience in such a way to be in a state of victimhood because they don't have something, or because what they do have is not operating at the highest state of wellness. We also, this is a beautiful thing. When we inherit the planet, we inherit the fields, the currents, everything that was put in place to give us this existence. We inherit it. Everything that was applied through us is harnessed through our DNA. So when we say we inherit the world, we really mean it. We inherit the fullness, everything that we have experienced, how it affected us on a DNA level, and what we were able to gain from that set of experiences. Now, the beauty of harnessing time is that we are activating in such sequences, such as 4343. We're not only harnessing the fullness of the electromagnetic currents, the highest overlay of those currents, but we are also harnessing the space of no time, which gives us an opportunity to feel our existence in our the totality of our parallel selves in the highest and greatest, harnessing all of those that are accessible to us, mastering the application, and our 13th strand is being activated. If we talk about our God strand, it is the cosmic strand, the 13th strand. And this is also why 13 is shall we say, the divine human design. Now, that's something where, do I feel that we could go higher on DNA? Yes, but is it necessary for this incarnation right now? No. So 13, that's our key code, 13. So previously it was 12, which gave us 3. I'm sorry. Previously it was 12, which gave us 3. And now it's 13, which gives us 4. So that's an ascension. 3D, 4D. Now, beyond 4D, we lose form. So there's not really a necessity for the form as we know it. Now, 4D is a space that I have come to appreciate for its capacity and capability of mirroring. However, one thing that came through for me earlier was the reflection of why it's also important that we remember it is a stopover. And it's a stopover because if you really feel into it for a moment, there's no time. There's no time. As we've spoken into, it's a mirror realm. So a mirror realm with no time, where you can quite literally, if you would like to be somewhere and experience something, from what I'm receiving, you would not necessarily need to travel in a vehicle unless you wanted to, and you could manifest that vehicle, and you could have that vehicle and you could travel there because there's no time. We have access to the fullness of our energy. However, because of that, a lot of people will, I feel, become very stuck there because of the access to the material. I feel that because it is a realm where they can experience everything in a space of no time, that they could get stuck. And so it is important to remember that it's there for us to harness another level of mastery, to understand and experience the space as it is, which is free from time. But also we have that accessible to us now, and we can begin to harness it so that there is nothing that keeps us captive here. There's nothing that keeps us captive. If we're doing this for the sake of having the physical, and this is why I really feel money, how we view money and what money means to us is really going to be important in that shift. Because, and not just money, but what money defines, what is defined by money. Once the ability to lift any predetermined notion of you as being limited by money or limited by the currents of energy, then you're still, of course, viewing from a state of self-doubt and a state of fear. And that is a realm that does exist, but it's also something where I feel feeling into the 4D. Will there be an accessibility of all material? Yes. The currents of money, these systems still be in place in 4D. Yes. I feel like there's something here. Absolutely, humans keep themselves captive. And that's the important, that's what's being spoken into, is that if you hold yourself captive in one aspect and you're concerned with something energetically, welcome, beautiful Eliza. You're concerned with the money, or you're concerned by the money, or for what money can give you. There's a beautiful native proverb that states, when the last fish is caught, when the last tree is cut down, and when the rivers are poisoned, you will not be able to eat money. So what is there going to be left, right? There's an ability for us here to appreciate the currents of energy. And I do feel like the stickiness, there's something here with the stickiness of money and 4D. Very interesting that it came up, because I was actually not even, of course, I never plan what I'm going to speak into, but I feel like it's coming up for a reason, to allow others to understand that the sooner that we can release ourselves from anything that connects us to that current, as Yvonne said, there will be a massive shift. There always is, right? There always is. But there's something there about 4D that's very beautiful, that's also very captivating and very sticky. And that is the space of no time and the accessibility of material items. And what is here for us now is to understand and harness, as we begin to touch on those dimensional frameworks, the fabric, if you will. We get to experience how we move in and out of it, and experience how we would choose in connection with that. This is where the mastery comes in, if you will, or the state of being that is free, that is always full, but is also simultaneously empty, that is full of all that is necessary and empty of identity of all, that needs nothing, wants for nothing, but enjoys and is grateful for everything. And, you know, I know that one of the things that we had accessible to us in some of our old world, if you will, or old world, was the schools of the mystic schools. And we had these mystic schools that provided an opportunity to teach us how to master electromagnetic currents. We had the temples, we had the places, and all of this was to teach us what was available and how to harness it, so that we could experience the fullness of this realm without remaining attached to anything, or without operating from a state of need or control or fear or self-doubt. And what was realized is that this world, as it began to shift into the new world, as it began to shift into the world that's here now, there was a realization by those that implemented the mystery schools that humans would be too busy. They're not on a path of choosing that. But what came available for us was the nuances of mastery in every moment. The mystery school is available to us in every moment. And this is how we choose to master our perception, our awareness, and our ability to understand the currents of frequency. Because that's the one thing that we understand above all else, is frequency. That is what we understand. So what is here now? The Orion and Sirius gateways. And I actually just realized earlier that, of course, on the calendar today, it's September 11th. And I realized that the numbers, I haven't been following calendar dates or portal dates for a little while now. But when I saw that, it brought me back to a realization of the sequences that are available within these gateways. And that is what's here, is 4343. And I loved being able to view what was here in the date of 11. There was, on my phone this morning, I saw the different 11s. I saw all the ones. And of course, September is a 9. So it brought me into that. I looked inward as soon as I saw that, and I was like, okay, what is the sequence? What is here? What is the sequence of frequency that is not on our calendar time? That's not on our set time. It's not on our linear time. Because again, we have the calendar and we have the dates that are still applicable to the fragment time. But there are aspects of time that exist outside of that, that if you can use the numbers in your reality as an ability to perceive the mirror, which means there's something that's showing up out here that's allowing you to understand what's in here. If you will use it in that way, simultaneous is even more powerful too, if we also are in a higher state of awareness of what is here. And for me, the sevens have been coming through, the fours have been coming through, of course, 9, 5. So these are the sequences that we're tapping into. And yeah, exactly. Do not get complacent, because we're meant to be consistently moving. And that's what this path is about, is consistent movement. And also planets. There are other planets outside of this one. The electromagnetic frequencies were put in here to give us an opportunity to experience this realm. So other planets don't have this. And if we go, there's other planets that we could actually go to once we inherit this planet that will give us an opportunity to enhance our experience there upon incarnation, simply because we will be able to bring an aspect. And actually what I'm hearing is that it's necessary that in order for you to incarnate on that planet, you must have mastered other planets, or a planet such as this one that has the electromagnetic current of mastery, where you inherit the planet, you inherit the totality of that in its highest form, which means that where the immune system, of course, is fully accessible and the heart is fully accessible, and you have an impermeable field of consistent regeneration, consistent wellness, consistent health, and you are no longer bound by something that is happening to you. Of course, that's a very human design. And therefore, when we bring this with us, we can go and incarnate other places, and that's a part of our experience in terms of mastery. So, and Fatima, mystery schools were here in past, well, they're simultaneous to now, I say past, but they were accessible through like Egyptian times, Sumerian times. We know about them in Egypt, but of course they've been around for a while. But once the last shift in eras happened, it was no longer carried over into this realm of Maya. And so it's accessible. We can access what is available through mystery schools, through parallel existences. However, realizing that we have an opportunity to master the mystery school through us in every moment, which means we master the nuances and the frequency and the existence of ourselves through perception and awareness. Because there is something very, very beautiful. And as we get ready to shift into this, I would like to share a story with you all and just provide you with an experience. Miss Eliza mentioned this to me from our soul pod, and she said, you really should make us, you should create something and get this out there for others, because there are some of you that have just crossed paths with me and were not around me when this happened a few months ago. My soulmate, my fur baby starseed, he is a direct mirror of me. He is a direct reflection of me. And so anything that maybe, if I'm not wholly present in my awareness, I can actually view him and see what is happening energetically, because he is a direct mirror of me energetically. A few months ago in June, I was still caught up in this exchange of attachment and connection with him. Very much. I was very much still focused on a previous injury, which of course I had manifested, and he was still quote unquote suffering from. And so my focus was consistently every single day waking up and seeing, okay, how do I need to help him? How do I need to assist in healing him? What needs to be applied? And there was this aspect of me that was always showing up in force, control, needing to control the environment, needing to control the outcome. And he was just simply a character in that, as is the case with all of us and our realities. Everyone is a reflection, a character that is playing out the movie that we have created. And I understand this. I knew this. This goes into the knowing, but the not applying. At the time, I knew it. I would speak into it. I would assist others, but I was not applying it to my own reality. Prior to another manifested injury, leading up to that, I had been given opportunities to shift. There was one day that we went on a walk, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just got up and he couldn't walk on one leg. He was having a difficult time. He couldn't get around. And of course, for me, I was choosing to be in a state of worry, concern, fear, again, trying to heal, trying to apply healing. And I knew better, but I didn't apply better. And fast forward about a month later, and both of his ACLs blew out. We had a stray dog show up out of nowhere. The entire time I've been back here, the last 4 years, never happened. And a stray dog shows up, he blows both ACLs out, he can't walk. It was the worst moment of my experience because that is like my child, if you will. That is his soulmate. And so watching him suffer, watching him in pain, watching him not being able to walk was extremely heartbreaking. We had to load him up and have two vet techs come out, take him into the vet. And I was faced with the truth that he might not be able to walk again, which means we'd have to put him down. The one thing that I kept hearing as soon as that happened, it was very, very beautiful. It was like having the angel and the devil present. I would just use that as a representation, which was higher self and lower self. There was a beautiful voice of me that kept speaking. You always have a choice. You have a choice right now. What do you choose? You have a choice. Miracles happen in every moment, and you have a choice. Do you choose the miracle? You have a choice. That's what kept repeating. And the other one was me in fear saying, no, 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 this is what's happening. This is what's happening. It's already happened and I've got to fix it. This is what's happening. And I was crying and I was just completely just horrified at the situation. And I had to accept. I knew I was viewing all timelines. I knew that the most present timeline was the timeline where he was put to death, because that's the timeline I was choosing. I was choosing fear. I was choosing worry. I was choosing concern. Therefore, he was caught up in suffering because of what I was choosing. Therefore, that was the most prevalent timeline. However, there were other infinite timelines that carried higher experiences of healing, of health, and they felt very beautiful. And it was never about him. It was about me. Once I accepted and I let him go, and I said, okay, if that's what's necessary, I let him go. I understand that I have created this. I have created the suffering. I've known that I've created the suffering, and I no longer choose suffering. And however that's going to show up, I no longer choose suffering, and I let him go. As if he had been put down. He wasn't, but I chose it in a way that said, if that's the way it goes, I accept it. I choose health, healing, and miracles. And in that moment, everything shifted. The vet came back and said, give it 5 days. We think he's going to be able to stand up again and walk. His body's going to heal. Just give him 5 days. We'll see if he needs surgery and all the rest of the stuff. He comes home, and for the few days, I had to help him stand up on his feet. Had to hold him for him to go to the bathroom, but his body was healing. And in every moment, I was consistently met with an opportunity to go in the opposite direction. In every moment that I saw him having a difficult time walking, how was I going to choose to feel about it? How was I going to choose to feel? Was I going to choose to get caught up in sadness and worry and concern? Was I going to consistently go down that road? And I had to choose. Am I going to try to heal him? Or am I going to let him heal himself? Am I going to choose freedom so that he can be free? Or am I going to keep him caught up in this cycle of suffering? Because that's what I've been doing. This is our relationship to others, is what do we choose? How do we choose to feel? And with everything that I bring through, there's this understanding of, I know, and this is why I speak it to everyone else. I know. But just because I know, am I applying it in a way that presents a reality that is carrying the understanding of what I know? Now, he's running, he's playing, he didn't have to have surgery, he's walking again, and if he's walking as if nothing happened, so to speak. You can see he's still healing, but he's there. And 2 days ago, I was met with another opportunity. Do I want to go down that route? I was feeding into and becoming entangled in his experiences. I was becoming more involved in what was happening with him than I was in what was here. And he overextended his knee and he went down and he looked to me. And in that moment, it was, where do I choose? Am I going to be fearful or am I going to be free? And I chose freedom. Within a few moments, he got up and he started walking again. We have everything available to us. Parallel existences, of course, are real, but we're usually so caught up in just what happens that when something happens, we realize that we're the creator of what happened. And how we're going to choose to feel about what happened simultaneously determines what happens next, and what happens next, and what happens next. It's a ripple effect. Which parallel reality are you choosing to exist in? How are you choosing to create your experiences? And there is an aspect of that where the law of attraction is happening, yes, but we also have an opportunity. There's an aspect to the law of attraction where time is involved. This is something where if you make that choice and you apply it frequentially and you hold the understanding of feeling and you carry the nuance, like you really feel and experience the nuances and you can feel in front of you, that's an opportunity. You can feel the doorways. You can feel everything that's there. You can feel the parallel existences. When you begin to rise in master choice, when that experience happened with him, it was a master choice for me. I was deeply entangled in everything that was happening with him. And my invitation for you is to ask yourself, in viewing your reality, where are you entangled? With what person, with what place, what thing, if at all? And if you are, or are you caught up in what happens instead of understanding that you're the direct creator of what happens? And this is our ability to harness the power of the mystery schools right now, where we are harnessing the experience and the realities and the power of the frequencies. And you can feel it, every bit of it. And I thank you for receiving that story. I really, really do. Because everything is always here. It's always been here. Of course, we were on lockdown from the frequencies, but we've been in a state of free experience for a little bit of time now. And we usually know a lot of things. We know these things, but the application of understanding is usually what's missing a lot of times. Because understanding only happens through the experience of choice. That's understanding. That's you feel, therefore you understand. So I thank you for receiving this story, and I place it there as an opportunity for you to view how your reality can shift right now. There's a lot of times I receive through others, and they say, let's, for instance, stepping into a one-on-one or connecting with me, and there's this feeling that there's a need to prepare or to understand. For yourself, what I would invite is that you can exist in a different version of you right now. You can exist in a higher version of you right now if you choose. There is nothing prohibiting you from you except for you. And there is no experience that is beyond you, and there is no understanding that is beyond you, but you must choose it. And a lot of times we stay complacent because it's easy. It's very easy. Most people do not want to view the nuances of frequency. They would like someone to tell them or show them, but to apply it for yourself means that you place your presence and your awareness right here, right now, because that's the only existence. That's it. So, yes, exactly, Christopher. And in Atlantis, we held the schools of technology, Lemuria, schools of spirit. And in Egypt was the beginning of bringing those, when we began the civilizations in outer earth, if you will, or the planetary scale. We brought that knowledge here. Everything was carried over, so we have access now to the technologies, of course. But I would like to present something, that the technologies that were brought here from Atlantis have been corrupted and have been under this state of control. They're already here. They've been here, and it's, you know, this is why we have hierarchical government and control frequencies through the governments, is because they stepped in and began overseeing that. Now we have access to the pure aspects of this, just like on the spirit scale. We must be the ones that choose to harness the frequencies. The technology is the DNA. Spirit is universe. If we harness it, it doesn't need to come from somewhere else. It's here. And we have access to understanding if we simply activate those DNA strands. And those are activated through the numerical sequences of the cosmos that inhabit us at all times. They're here, we're receiving them. And so my invitation now, as we step into 4343, is to take a moment as we begin to dial in and just take a deep breath. Begin to drop your awareness into the self to a deeper scale. Receiving all of mind, all of body, all of soul. And feeling into 4343. Allowing yourself to realize that the sequence is activating itself on the microcosm to match the macrocosm. Because everything that exists, quote unquote, incoming, must be harnessed through our awareness and our application of the microcosm. Just because we know it exists, just because we know it's there, just because we speak about it, the way that we harness and activate it, and also our choices and how we exist, the tone in which we exist carries it. This is also why coming into the heart, the neutral state, the neutral space of the heart, 0 point, there is no one that is able to access the spiritual realm without having an open and activated heart. There is a reason for this. There are those that will read and know that it exists and that it's available and will claim it, but will not actually be harnessing the choices which give them access to that within themselves, which means they exist in a completely different realm and they will attempt to manipulate and distort. Therefore, your existence is, of course, your reality. The realm that you exist in is wholly dependent on what you believe exists, and higher than that, not only what you believe, but what you choose. If we take that a step higher, what you choose. Numbers being the language of the stars, and not just the mathematical application. Again, that is limited. Our sciences, our teachings, our physics, all of that doesn't cover the truth of the universe or the cosmos. It's barely scratching the surface, if you will. Barely. But because science is so determined by the application of science, really the only ones that are leaning into that is quantum physics. Why? Because they're going into the quantum and they're beginning to really allow themselves to step outside of the limitations of applied science. Of course, those of us on a soul level are stepping into the soul level, understand, and we've always known this, that there is no teaching that can apply to awakening, because awakening is the understanding of experience, and you must choose. 4343. Yes, exactly, Christopher. We are the original tech. And the reason the mystery schools created the temples was to give us access before we had the accessibility in the way that we do now to access in this way. Everything was always and ever leading up to this. It was always and ever an applied practice. And it was also applied for then, if you will, now, but still then, because that was the necessity. So what are you receiving in connection to 4343? I would love to hear. What colors are showing in connection with those currents? As we prepare to dial in, allow yourself to feel on a quantum molecular level, what does 4343 activate within the gene code, within the nucleus, within and as that 13th strand of DNA? Remembering that everything already exists simultaneous to us now. We already have our parallel timelines. However, with the activation of the 13th strand, it will give us an opportunity, an access point to no time. The So what are you feeling is applied through the 4343, that's applied to your mind, your body, and your soul as a unified state of existence. That's beautiful, Eliza. One thing I would ask to bring and even widening that a little bit more, what is there within the golden timelines, or shall we say the magnetic lines? What is there? What are you experiencing? What is available for you to experience? Mind, body, soul unified. What is there for you? What is being activated within you? And I feel as we continue to go into this, that will enliven itself to an even greater degree. So let us begin to journey into the cosmic currents, and view the activated strand, the harnessing of the molecular currents, and to see how this plays out through us. Distillation, integration. Loving this, you guys. Very much aligned, very much what I'm feeling as well. For me, I'm receiving that it activates our cosmic access points. It gives us an ability to harness and harvest our existence here in a way that not only provides us with everything that we need, but we will no longer, as we reclaim all lines of parallel existence, for that's what's here for us, of course, now. But I also feel as we shift and we go into no time, we will only have one line, because in no time, there's no time, which means we don't need multiple timelines. There's always and ever one line of existence, and that's just simply no time, and the existence of us in no time. So what I'm feeling is what we're beginning to harness is our existence, understanding, harnessing how we move in between parallel lines, simultaneous, how we move into the golden lines, or what is the no time, or the golden line, which is what I feel golden lines are, is simply the heart. They're the higher lines, if you will, but they're higher in their tone, but they're a compilation of the lower, that is integrated into the higher, where we exist parallel. We are just no longer going into the lower aspects of self that hold us captive in some viewpoint of ourself or some viewpoint of the world that is accessible through a lower egoic standpoint. And we have the power now to shift and exist in having access to our reality. So if there is something in your reality or something in your body that has been in disharmony, this is an opportunity for you to realize not only that you have created it, but you can shift into a different line and practice what you preach if that's applicable. Opening up the channel. One thing I would like to clarify as we step in deeper into this, there are cosmic higher councils, of course, that are always here watching and always available to assist us. When I spoke into not having guides, the clarity I would like to provide here as we step into this is that there are we have two realms, and in the realm where the control frequencies are applicable, the psychic lines can become distorted because there are those that are choosing to use the psychic lines in a way that presents it as being higher, that understands what is accessible through the cosmic energies, but they haven't chosen to shift out of a system. They're still applying a system, which means we can't, we can obviously, but if we apply a system, a business, if you will, and we turn it into a business, then we're still in a systematic approach, and systems are what is necessary to be collapsed. And therefore, we're meant to harness the spirit or the universal aspect of us energetically as just simply a state of being, an offering of light that is not bound by the system. So in that way, the psychic can be a very distorted projection. There's also psychic lines, if you will, that are clear, and therefore if we allow those, as stated, as you've heard me state before, if we allow the consciousness, the flow, the field of consciousness to be the original observation, if you will, if we allow that to be the main point of receiving and allowing the psychic to simply be the electric fields that are working in assistance with the magnetism of the consciousness, then they can work together in harmony. This is very much the reflection of mind and heart coherence. If one is not choosing a path of true heart-mind coherence, then those psychic lines are projecting belief. They are not harnessing the fullness of the magnetism and of the electric currents. This means that they are holding they're consistently drawing people in from a state of attachment instead of freedom. And so I just wanted to provide, again, that clarity, as it feels like it's a necessary point of reflection that is here. And so everything that comes in is still being harnessed, of course, through those lines, and it is still being activated through those lines. How we choose to present them and through which tone shows the highest, can show the highest and greatest, or it can show where we just choose to continue to compartmentalize those energies for the sake of the flow of income. There it is, it's coming full circle. For the sake of bringing people in for money, bringing people in for big numbers, bringing people in so that there can be larger and larger numbers, receiving larger and larger reflected egoic beliefs, because there hasn't been a full shift into heart ego coherence. So now opening up the channel. Let us take a few deep breaths and drop in. As you are dropping in, I'm just going to be opening up the channel to begin allowing the flow of the Sirian Orion. Please take a few deep breaths. Dropping in and just feeling what is here. What are you feeling? What are you aware of? What is in your field? What is in your mind? And simultaneously, what is in your heart? And I do this now. I just knocked out my live. So we're going to be shifting into a different polarization of electric currents. Opening up the channel, opening up the conduity to match that of the Sirian Orion. And as you are dropping in and just taking a few deep breaths and becoming aware of your field and aware of your currents, you're really able to see and perceive how you interact with your electromagnetic currents. And as we begin to shift, you can already feel the polarization. You can feel how the magnetism has expanded, how we are becoming engulfed in the magnetic light. Deep breath. Christopher, did we meet on, do I have you on Facebook? I'm sorry, that's just something that's coming into my awareness. I know we've connected in email. Or no, it was Instagram. Yeah, I know. In it. Sorry, my curiosity just popped in there. And just, okay, yeah, Facebook. Is it Facebook? Just applying the currents. 4343. What does 4343 sound like? What does 4343 look like? What color is 4343? Allow yourself to dial into this. for me, I'm feeling and receiving it as an aquamarine violet, aquamarine blue and violet. Because that is how 7 appears for me. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Same name is on here, AOSC Ein. I send it to you in an email. I do feel, and thank you all for hanging in there. This came into my awareness, I do believe, so that we could, connect into the conversation. I feel like I'm already dialing into us already having that conversation. And now, thank you, Christopher. I will send that to you in an email. Now, bringing full awareness into the 4343. I apologize for that. I was picking up on a simultaneous existence there. As we dial into the no time. Feeling the presence of the currents of light. For when we speak into light, that is what it is. It is color. Color is light. Light is color, or the absence can be the absence of color as well, as we know color. For me, when I see 4343, I actually do not see color as the main design. I actually see a grayscale or black and white. I see the play on the in between. And then there is color that is connecting in. So now that all of this is in your awareness, let us go into the microcosm, going into the nucleus. Moving our awareness into the temple of the nucleus. We are in the temple of the nucleus. Just taking a deep breath, expanding into the microcosm. Feeling an intense magnetism of the body. From the nucleus, we go down into the electrons, protons, neutrons. We are first going to view how 4343, these waves of light interact on a molecular from our viewing, from our observation, and also from our application. For these are sequences of the cosmos, the Sirian, Orion, for these are both, as we understand them, masters of time, for they exist outside of time. They do not exist in the time that we understand. Also now calling upon and choosing and accepting the connection to the high councils of light in connection to Sirius A and Orion. Wind picked up a lot. And just allowing those high councils and the presence of energy to be there. I'm feeling this working very much in the spine. Already beginning to feel the currents moving through the spine as they have been, but just feeling the intensification as these gateways of Orion and Sirius really open up and connect. They connect through all of our tubular gateways, which would be our arteries, our spine, the electric currents of the neural network, the magnetism of the blood, and we apply allowing the body to realign to the currents on the molecular. Go to first we are aligning the to the spine. I love that, Christopher. Thank you for sharing. Just feeling everything is moving opening. It's actually, I feel it's placed is the cross of the shoulders, moving down through the spine. There are two sets of cosmic currents, one that begins below the base and one that begins around the crown, throat, and shoulders. And I'm actually speaking on a molecular scale. Just taking a moment, a few deep breaths. And if you are not expressing, I would always invite an expression, a tone, a tune, an expression of light to really feel the power, the influence that happens on a molecular when you actually express yourself and you express the tone or you express the currents, the language of the numbers. And now as we move into the strand, the 13th strand, if you will, of the DNA. Taking a few moments. Whew. I got a lot that's opening up through the third eye and the crown. Through the hands, through the shoulders. And seeing the codes of the numbers, if you will, or the numbers as they are in their oscillating design. The gallbladder. There's a lot that is stored in the liver, in the gallbladder. And a lot that is etherically leaking. So let us call up the reparations and harness the etheric immune system, bringing this forward from the DNA, from the 13th strand. Calling upon the activated lines. Bringing this in from the activated tonage of 4343. And just feeling. Allowing those activated tones there. There we go. Moving, moving. We are acclimating that and acclimating. This is definitely an activated sequence, shall we say, that energetically begins, if you will, on the left. On the feminine, if you will, the magnetic side. It's a highly, highly magnetic. And then now shifting into the electric aspects, the masculine. Acclimating. And moving, we're actually moving. And as we're rotating, as we're moving, each time we come into, we might move in these currents. They're electric, magnetic, they're intercepting in the neutral zone, and they're weaving. And now, from the liver, from the gallbladder, from the immune system and the etheric, what are you holding? What are you holding on to? What belief, what aspect of you are you holding on to? What energy are you holding captive in the gallbladder, in the liver? That is creating openings or tears? Or what has been inherited that is necessary for you to view in order for you to accept, in order for you to move onward? Allowing yourself to view that now, so that you do not move consistently by choice into other parallel existences that are somehow holding through you, of course, the distortion or the distinguishment of distortion, if you will, through these leaks or these tears in your organs. As the organs hold these magnetic properties, these electric magnetic properties. And now, we apply the activated currents of no time in the etheric field, the Sirius Orion, the frequencies of 4343 applied through an etheric calling in this overlay, pulling this overlay in. And you can feel the overlay. It's very interesting. There's 4-3 on my screen right now. You can feel the overlay as it's coming in. This is an overlay. It's the reparation. It's the rejuvenation through the applied awareness, where we are intercepting ourselves in the etheric, applying the state through a neutral point of the heart, the magnetic lines of the heart, and harnessing the magnetism of the etheric immunity. And just feel that overlay coming in. And I can really feel where this is being applied in those organs. And what imprints? Are there any imprints I'm hearing? Yeah, as I'm feeling intense pressure on my head. Are there any imprints in your field that are existing that are denying access to the overlay? Are there any imprints of control? Are there any imprints in your field? In the soul field. That's what I'm hearing. We must view the soul, the field of the soul. Opening Rokoya Sitike Nusha Ike Are Inamareaku As viewing the field of the soul. What imprints exist there that are in that are at war with the overlay? You have brought soul imprints with you to determine your experiences. They are part of your karmic inheritance. And a lot of these imprints must be fulfilled. So let us call them in now, so that they may be fulfilled. Calling to the surface, calling into the viewing, soul imprints. What is here to be viewed? What karmic energy or karmic imprints are necessary to be fulfilled? These are contracts that you came with. And in order for you to move onward in frequency, you must view them. The experience can be had in the understanding now, where you view, you accept, you allow that to be, and therefore you experience through the acceptance, and it is fulfilled. Now, this does not mean that through this that you will not end up making choices that still lead you into the fulfillment of that karma in a way that might be necessary for you to close out. If this doesn't fulfill it for you on a soul level, you might still lean into that. That's okay. Please allow. But to have the understanding, when you do approach it, you will know and you will understand from now that that was necessary. You can allow it, and that is it. It's fulfilled. You do not need to continue to go into the lessons of discovery. These are directly correlated to the numbers 4 and 3. Because the number 4 is directly correlated to the heart, and the 3 directly correlated to the solar plexus. So in its certain dimensionalities, these numbers are applied in cosmic and in the human soul karmic, and they are intertwining now. We allow them to be viewed. I love that you put that in there, Aliza. And allowing the waves. Seeing a very beautiful rainbow design, the harmonic resonance of this overlay. Sa 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 su 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 wa su 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 wa tuk wa tuk wa tuk 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 tuk. And now we are going to go into the spine to release, to finalize this. Moving into the spine, what I'm receiving is the back of the heart space, wing space, where the magnetism is meeting the electric, opening up into the tubular. Feeling the opening in the neural network as everything is expanding through the spine, through the back. Releasing. Calling for the spiral from the spine and the neural network to be releasing the filaments of light, the activated gene codes of the 13th strand. And feeling there was a major, it expanded outwards and now it's coming back in. Just like the ebb and flow of the tide, there is an expansion. And it's not actually a contraction, because contraction feels restrictive. It's just how the wave moves. It comes in, it flows out. It comes in, it flows out. And the neural network is releasing the flow. It is emitting. It is signaling. The filaments are signaling and receiving, signaling and receiving, signaling and receiving. In the sequence. Sit, 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 sit. Oh, it's amazing, Eliza. And it's 244. 740. It's 244 with 74% on my end. Beautiful mirror, beautiful reflection. And feel the circle, if you will, or the spiral. You can feel the movement. This is how the molecules are. Yes, yes, yes. Feeling and receiving how we are now responding to the new encoded sequence. And the intention, I would like for each of you, of course, to place your own intention in the sequence. What I'm hearing and receiving, the intention, if you will, of the sequence, what it in its overlay is providing is accessibility to the harnessability of the currents, and how we are accessing the mastery of feeling from a state of no time neutrality, and placing the intention of viewing always and ever the self and likewise the world from a state of neutrality. If you cannot see yourself in everyone and everything, then you will always receive others from a state of separation. It's them, they are there. And we can also always understand that, yes, maybe they are there. And I speak this on behalf of myself as well, as understanding, but we hold the choice of where we choose to be. Let them exist there. Because there is a version of us that exists there with them. We are not separate. And that is a version of us that if we so choose, we step into an experience. Ishiki anda isiku a shiki a shiki a suku a shiki a shiki a shiki a suku a shiki a shiki a shiki a suk a ruk usk usk arku. Please take a deep breath in. It was 1 4 2 2 4. It's 4 2 2 4. Feeling as the waves move through. For this final wave, we will move out into the etheric and come back in, pulling everything in from the field of consciousness. So allowing your awareness to expand out into the micro while simultaneously experiencing yourself from the micro. Macro, micro, simultaneous. Now you're going to feel some intense magnetism pulling through the base, coming up around the neck, expanding out from the heart, coming around down through the feet. And allowing yourself to feel the egg, the bubble, if you will, the field. This is your immune system. It is a system that is always at work. And when we ingest things, it battles against the immunity of the body. We are either receiving and ingesting vibrationally through thoughts, vibrationally through herbs, that which supports the system of the body. The immune system is the magnetic field. It is very interesting how we believe that viruses, that we catch them, what we do not get sick, through viruses in the way that we have been taught to believe. We are conditioned through fear. First, the fear is presented through the control system, through the government. They tell everyone before it is released into the field, they set the stage to tell you what is here. They control, therefore, they tell the universe, or the world, I'm sorry, they will tell the world, what are you choosing? Are you choosing to exist in that world, in that realm that is controlled by what is released into your field? Or are you the one that is in control? Are you the one that is the creator? Are you the one that is choosing the realm in which you exist? Which means there is no sickness that you catch. There is no disease that you are a victim of. You exist as the field. You exist as the system. You exist as all that is your existence and your reality. Which are you choosing to inherit? We do not get sick. We get into a vibrational state that believes something, and therefore it activates that within us. In terms of ascension, there is no sickness. There are sensations, but there is no sickness. Just as you acclimate to a higher altitude, where your body is receiving more of the good stuff, the oxygen, your blood is being oxygenated, you acclimate. This is what is happening. You are acclimating. And your cells respond. And how you respond in response to your micro is determined by whether you're a victim or you're the creator. If you're the creator, then you know right now how you feel just by the application. And yes, you might have head pressure. You might have ear ringing. You might have some body aches. You might even feel like you've been working out for days on end and your body feels that. It's because we are in a different brainwave state, which activates the cells in a way that would normally require force of movement, consistent movement, applying force to receive the same outcome. Now there is simply just allowing, moving into a higher state of conscious applied awareness, as well as brainwave state is in a higher state. It is therefore activating itself and activating the body. We bring it all in. Coming into the central pillar. Feeling everything all is Shukur. Shukur. All is activated. All is complete. All is complete. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just taking a few moments to really be in this experience, to feel everything. My spine feels like it's on fire. My spine feels like it's on fire. I can feel, like, I obviously feel the physical heat, but there is an internal calibration taking place, and it's moving from the spine into the front, out through the hands. There's a lot reconstructing that tone of 4343 through the activated strand. What we have always known as, or heard of as, the God strand, if you will. So this is bringing us into an availability to experience our bodies and our reality from a higher tone. But what is that higher tone? It's not just higher vibration, but higher perception, right? Having the ability to view and feel and experience all simultaneously, experiencing the mind, the body, and the soul, and everything simultaneously, viewing, feeling, understanding. This feels very, very wonderful, and I thank you all for receiving. Always. It is always such a joy. Always such a joy. It's always so weird viewing through my physical eyes after having my eyes closed for so long. I'm going to, I am feeling called. I'm going to, you're welcome, Miss Andrea. Andrea. There we go. There we go. Just opening up. Felt a little there that I was called to open. Thank you all for receiving. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So wonderful as always to be in this experience with each of you and to feel how we exist. This one I do feel with this neural expansion, and of course the gallbladder and the liver and the overlay. So there is an overlay of magnetic energy that is active, and we are existing through this activation, this difference in polarity. Now, as all things, this shift in polarity or polarization, it doesn't just exist just alone through the activation. However, this assists in giving you a point of reference for the experience. Always and ever, the choices, and the tone the choices are carried upon is what really allows you the accessibility of this at all times, giving you an opportunity to just be consistently open and available within yourself to view your creatorship and your God potential, if you will. And therefore, it gives you an opportunity to consistently harness and access how you can shift yourself in any moment. That I cannot overstate the power and the necessity of the the magnetic. The magnetic is our. This is why we understand as the golden lines, or we're really drawn to golden lines, and the golden tone is the magnetic, and the importance of this is the ability to harness quite literally our impermeable self, our self that does not experience anything other than balance, harmony, the pure existence of self. And when we harness this, we are harnessing the cosmic design, we are harnessing the planetary design, and we really can understand as well the technology, and both spiritual, technological, if you will, of other races, other civilizations that we have a tendency to look towards. It's all here now. It's all here now. If we choose to harness what is here now, which, sometimes we can overlook that. So my invitation is to give yourself an opportunity always to dial in. You have received a sequence. You've received the activation within the sequence, and to now be present in that, to choose to be present in the sequence, to choose to hold the awareness that gives you access to everything that is yours. And again, we have an opportunity in every moment to choose how we feel and what we perceive, if we're staying comfortable and easy, or if we're shifting, if we're changing. Everything on this most previous line of experience, it's completed. I realized, okay, for the last 2 days, I've received everything that's here. I have received every experience on this line. Now it's time to have, to harness. Now it's time to activate and harness. There is another sequence, an ability to experience, to activate on the DNA, and therefore, however many moments, however many days is present within this, we'll receive everything that's there, everything that's here, and then we shift again, and everything is always changing and evolving, as well as in every breath and in every moment. So thank you all. I love you all so much. I look very much to our next live. Thank you all for hanging in there and for receiving this entire time. If anybody would like to drop into the comments at any time just to reflect your experience, I would love to hear it. If not, then I look forward to seeing you all in the next live. So I'm going to close this out. Satai indai shukutai indai ishikutai indai ishikitukuruk uskia kataka indai ishikura indik ishikura suktukurku tukurku tukurku tuku shu shu shu. This moment is complete. Thank you. Until next time. Adonai.